low, and now we're low. And we found it.
Welcome to Prairie Talk, everybody, with Blades and Mayo. I'm Craig Mayo.
And I'm Shane Blades. I'll tell you what do you think about this show? Now, let's kind of hint around to it, but not actually tell them what it's about.
Yeah, because this isn't all going to be jokey, fun, you know. We're getting down to the serious issues this time.
Yeah, we here at Prairie Talk feel, it's good to laugh. It's good to express emotions of happiness. But when it's time to get down to the issues, that's where me and Craig put the old foot down and we come out with a show like this.
And that's why you're tuning in today, is because of the issues.
That's right.
And remember, prairietalktv@aol.com is our email address.
And emails us with your issues. Let us know what's going on. But this is going to be a humdinger, excuse the expression. This is going to be something that I think we'll be talking about for a very long time. It's serious. It has a lot to do with the way things were back then and the way they still are today to some aspect. So let's let him in on it, Craig.
Let's welcome our next guest. Well, our only guest today. Next guest.
Yeah.
We just started this show.
That's right.
Who was our first guest? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, let's welcome our first guest, Janine. Janine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming.
Well, we received your email, and we just wanted to why don't you tell us what was in your email when you sent it to us, and so the viewers at home could just get a feel for what what we're gonna talk about today.
Sure.
Well, guys, I was flipping through the channel stations, and there was nothing catching my eye, and then I saw Prairie Talk. Wow, rocking! This is great. And watching you guys reminisce about Little House on the Prairie and Laura Ingalls, and I'm thinking I never got into the show. And I said, well, why? Because there were really no black people on there. So I didn't get all the warm and fuzzies when I saw Little House on the Prairie. I would see and say, okay, where are my people? Somewhere fighting for freedom. Somewhere probably still picking cotton on some plantation where the master didn't even tell them about the Civil War and the North had won.
Well, what about Pa giving all his great speeches to Laura and stuff, about,
racial equality and how everybody's the same? Didn't that kind of draw you in a little bit?
You kind of need to be with people to understand that you can talk about we are all the same and we should be together, but it's different when people live next door to you or they're going to school with you. Things change.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So him just talking about it really wasn't enough to get you drawn in. He actually would have had to interact then. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a difficult time watching shows that don't have people that look like me.
Yeah, well,
because there's the assumption that an all-white cast has a universal appeal. They don't.
Really?
They don't.
Well,
because if you turned on a show and there were all black people, would you watch? And do you watch shows that are considered to be all black, like Living Single, when it used to be on?
I watched Boys in the Hood last week. I got it on Blockbuster.
And it came out how many years ago? Did you go to the theater and support that filmmaker and pay your $8? You watched it last week, and I think it was made in 1990, 91.
I gave Blockbuster an extra $5 for the rental, though.
10 years later.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you watch shows that have all black people on it? Do you feel you're going to get something out of that? They're people.
Well, I guess I see what you're saying, but, Hester Sue was on the show for a couple of seasons.
Right. And yet, let's talk about Hester Sue.
Okay.
What did Hester Sue do?
She worked at Caroline's.
Mm-hmm.
She was at the orphanage with all the children.
Hell of a cook.
She was a vital part of both of those organizations. She even had, there was the episode when an old ex-boyfriend came into town and tried to prove his love to her. Didn't work out, but
Okay, so now we have Hester Sue, who is a slave without the chains and the whips. All she does is work all over the place for everyone. The only time she has any kind of life outside of working for everyone else is a boyfriend who's a loser. So she has no mother, no father, no brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, pets. She basically was dropped off by some space pod in the middle of this town and has no connection to anyone else.
Did she have a pet?
I think she had a cat.
Oh, well, there we go then. See?
She might have had
She had a lot, yeah.
Yeah, she had a.
Token Negro. Right. I want to watch Hester Sue.
She,
Yeah.
that?
But maybe she enjoyed cooking and cleaning and talking to people and interacting. Maybe that was something she loved. Maybe that was her hobby, and then she made it her life.
Lovely, but she has no family.
Yeah.
Okay, so other characters get to evolve. I can't really get to the heart of a character until I see their interaction with family and friends, love interests, trials, tribulations. You're just working for everybody. You're one-sided. You have no character arc. You don't grow. You're expendable.
Oh.
And the only time I get to see her grow is a poor choice she made for picking a loser of a man to be with who comes and fools the whole town, but backslides.
Yeah.
Please. Next, let's something else.
She
Yeah,
just had a
well-
point there, Craig.
Yeah, well, there's also another episode. Dr. LeBeau comes into town. That's another good episode with.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a doctor,
Yeah.
smart guy. That's good.
That was an excellent episode. How many episodes total?
Was he in? Oh,
no,
one.
no. Little House on the Prairie shot
186 episodes.
186, and that would be how many seasons?
That's probably like 8 or 9 seasons. Yeah.
8 or 9 seasons.
Yeah.
So we now
Plus
we're
a few
up to-
TV movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're up to one good episode out of 186. We're on a roll. We're on a roll. We got one good episode with an ethnic
sarcasm
Wow.
right
character.
there. I know.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I think out of 186, we got one good episode.
Was it a 2-parter? No, it wasn't. I was gonna.
And then that would make it 2.
I was hoping it was.
That would make it
Yeah,
2.
no, it's not a 2-parter
Right.
though. It's a 1-parter.
So
yeah. it
So
is
basically,
one.
what you're saying is, like, out of the 186 episodes of Little House, you happen to like only one.
Or 2 if it was a 2-parter.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. I can get verification.
No, that was a
Sure.
1-part.
Okay.
So Hester Sue didn't do anything for
Not
you.
a
So
thing.
that's like not even worth
Not
watching.
even- what about the famous Todd Bridges?
Yeah, Todd
episode?
Bridges. Todd Bridges
And
was.
he was
in-
on once, correct?
Yeah,
But that was a hell of an episode. That was like worth.
But I
10
need more than
episodes.
an episode. I'm a little brown girl watching TV.
Yeah.
I need to see little brown people on there as well, not one little episode here and there.
Right.
Storyline, have a family. Up the road, down the road, round the bend.
Someone shows
Let
up.
Hester get pregnant, have kids,
Yeah.
and the pet that we think she
But what
might
if she
have.
got pregnant by a white guy?
That would have been an interesting storyline, which is a part of our history. TJ, as I referred to him, Thomas Jefferson, had the famous little affair with Sally Hemings, who they like to call a love story. It's impossible to have, I think, a love relationship with a master and a slave, but we don't even have to go there on this episode of Prairie Talk. But that's a part of our history. That would have been drama.
Right.
Let's have the townspeople talk about that.
That would have created.
Hester's knocked up by right.
Whoa, by Nels.
Okay.
Oh man, Harriet would have been. Oh, the uproar Harriet would have caused if she heard about that.
Yeah, because Harriet, I'll admit, I'm not saying everybody on the show is a bigot, but Harriet was. I will say that. So I'll give you props to that.
Well,
She-
thank you, Shane.
She was always like if she saw something, she was always like taken back, and she had to let everybody know she was taken aback about everything. And with that issue, she probably everybody in the town would have known, especially when she had the telephones. She would have been, "Hey, have you heard? Guess what?"
Let us
Yeah.
know what you think about out there. Prairie Talk TV at AOL.com. Was Little House on the Prairie a
White-centered show?
show?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't thought about these things, and this is the reason why we do Prairie Talk, so we can talk to good people.
But what about maybe? There were a few episodes where there was a few Indian episodes. There's also the episode where Charles goes to the mine, and I remember there were Asians in the digging the mine for the railroad. So there's I would think it's a racially balanced show.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah, what do you think?
yeah.
If Little House on the Prairie, it's an all-black cast, and we had a few white folks on every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
Now ask yourselves the same question: would it seem balanced? Would it seem diverse to you? Out of 186 episodes, we've talked about 2 or 3 people of color on the show. Would it seem balanced?
It makes
you?
me kind of think that I almost, maybe this show would be backwards and we would be the guest on your show if it was the other way around.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of speechless right now. It depends on who the characters were on the All Black Little House on the Prairie, though. If it was like Paul and Laura, all I need to see them is maybe twice out of 186, and I'm content.
Yeah.
I am hooked. I'm down with it. You know what I'm talking about?
But what about the...
Not buying it, Shane.
I'm serious. I would be an avid viewer because, you know, they bring so much to the show. And
but what if they weren't on the show in the very beginning, which means you would have to first commit to basically an all-black casted show before you even get to the opportunity to see these 2 white characters?
But would the black girl that played Laura still have little pigtails?
They'd
And have
probably be
little
Afro puffs, but there'd be 2 of them.
Yeah, I would be hooked. I don't know. I can't tell you honestly.
Then
Like
you're
I s-
one of the few who can honestly say they would watch something for the script or the value of the show. We are drawn to what we appeal to, what we can relate to.
Right.
But unfortunately, TV has a tendency to make all white casts present them as universal. And they're not. They're not.
Well, what about, okay, there's the black shows, you know, versus the white shows, but then I think of the Cosby Show, which was a black show, but yet it was a universal show.
Right,
Now,
that was a monumental historical
Yeah.
breakthrough in the history of television, and it's put up on that pedestal. People try and rip it apart, but yes, that is a perfect example of an all-black cast that has a universal appeal. But it had to be someone like Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
who was a veteran in entertainment,
Yeah.
to get that appeal for them to even greenlight that project and let him on TV.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, even though it was an all-black cast, I was an avid viewer of that show. Absolutely.
Could you say it was because it was more of an American show rather than a white show or a black show, or it was more of an American?
And I think also because it's clearly middle class.
Yeah.
You have a doctor and a lawyer in the
Right.
same household. So, and that, in a sense, kind of breaks with the traditional way African Americans are presented. You very seldom ever see both parents in the household.
Yeah.
It's like the black experience is portrayed as, if you're lucky enough to know who your father is, he's definitely not living at home with you. And it's probably 4 generations of women, not a baby's daddy in sight, all of them living in a house in the hood of some major city. You know, there was good times and then there was happy days. How come good times for black people was the ghetto? Happy days was middle white America. That's deep. That's a whole nother show. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Prairie Talk.
But what about, Little House? That it was an American show, and I would say that they were a middle class kind of family with both
They were
parents.
poor. They were living in like the ghetto of the 1800s, if you will.
Yeah, they were.
And still in that ghetto of the 1800s, there were how many black people? We were up to what, 2 or 3 episodes?
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not enough to have a guest appearance.
Right.
I need to see a family.
Move in.
I need to see different characters with the opportunity to have a character arc with Laura Ingalls and the rest of the gang over the 8 or 9 seasons.
Yeah.
You can't just drop them in and make your little political statement, or we all should get along and move on.
I thought of another episode. There's the episode where they're traveling across the country. I think it's Charles, and I forget the other, but they're carrying like glycerin across the country.
Right.
And in the third wagon, there's a black guy. There's another episode.
He was driving the wagon. as a matter of fact.
One black guy, did he had a family, friends, relationship?
He left him back in the town.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Did they mention that? Did
Kids
you
were
say-
adorable.
Yeah.
They were just cute as a button.
Yeah.
You need more. You need
Yeah.
more. Or you lose an entire part of the audience when you make the assumption that this is going to be appealing to everyone.
Well, Todd Bridges had a mod pod. Like, you know, he like left them to use.
Weren't they beating him or whipping him or something?
Well,
Yeah.
punishment.
Yeah, but
Right.
But I think Pa lifted the old spanking stick there a little bit, you know, on his kids, didn't he? And a good little speech too, of course. But you know,
Could have a little
So
house.
now Todd Bridges left his family situation because he was having a difficult time at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so now we've graduated from Hester Sue with no family to Todd Bridges having a family that's whack,
yeah.
dysfunctional. He runs away from them. So again, it's negative. It's dysfunctional.
But so was
Yeah.
Albert. Albert had to run away from his dysfunctional family in order to meet the Ingalls.
But he evolves. He stays on there, doesn't he?
Yeah,
For a
he's
while.
on there
Todd
for-
is gone, right? He goes back to different
Yeah.
strokes.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
yeah.
It's done.
No.
So I would like to see what
That's
happened
right.
after that. Todd's gone. Again, you need series regulars
Right.
with character arcs over the 8 or 9 seasons, like
But
Laura
Todd,
and the rest
Todd
of them.
decided himself to leave. He was like, I want to go home. If he
Yeah.
decided I want to stay here with Charles, I guess he could have stayed on the
He would have
show.
been a series regular
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the
If he
time.
did- But it was his
Right.
decision to leave.
Yeah, it wasn't our fault about that.
If he decided to stay with the Ingalls, he would have been on the show for a couple of seasons. So I think it's kind of maybe his own decision that he.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the character's decision or the writers and executive producers that thought, okay, here we go. Here's another little episode. We'll put one little spot in, wrap it up in the hour, and send him on his way.
See, I think Todd was having a contract dispute, and he decided to leave on his own goodwill.
After one episode,
After one
yeah.
episode. So I think they wanted to have him on as a regular.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have to call Todd.
Because
yeah, he's not.
He's out of rehab now. We'll call Todd.
Because
and
there's
see
even
what
like
really happened.
episodes where Albert has to choose between the Ingalls, and if he chose to go back between the Ingalls and his father, and he decided to go with his father, he would have left the show. But no, he decided
But
to
who
stay
would
with the
care? It was
Ingalls.
another white guy. Todd was the only black one.
Yeah.
So is it just? What? Take this scenario, okay? You're a little kid. You're flipping through the channels, and all of a sudden, Little House comes on. What if there was a lot of Asians and Latinos on there? Now, would that draw you in a little bit
Yes.
more? Is it all minority, or is it just the black in particular?
Oh,
So if there were more Latinos and Asians, and what else do we got? Does Russians count?
Palestinians,
Yeah, Palestinians.
Palestinians count.
So if they were on the show, that would have
Greeks,
enticed you.
yeah. Oh, when they went and looked for gold, there were some Italians on the show. There was
Doesn't
a very, very
Does
Italian
count.
family.
Does count.
They were from Italy. It wasn't like an Italian American.
Doesn't matter. Does count.
Doesn't count. But see, they were in Minnesota back then. In Minnesota, there wasn't a lot of cultural diversity. It was just primarily white people at that time.
You know, sometimes they would go to the cities, and I know the cities are kind of like, whenever they go to the cities, kind of like, ooh, it's evil. You know, the bad city. But, you know, they do go there a few episodes, and they'll, like, go into the bars or meet with the townspeople, and you do see black people, like, in the bars there, you
Yeah,
know.
there was black folks in there.
Yeah.
Any storyline? Do we follow them home? Are they
Well-
part of the conflict or the drama?
Well, we knew they were thirsty.
You're reaching.
What are you talking
And you
about?
brought up
They're
a very good point that
What's
the
that?
city represents evil,
yeah.
bad thing,
Right.
kind of like a Sodom and Gomorrah kind of thing, evil, wild, drinks, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
There are black people there. It's deep.
Well, it
Instead.
wasn't like mostly. It wasn't like, oh, let's go to the city and it's all, you know. It was,
Oh, I know
well,
it wasn't. It was never all black. That I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Ooh.
3, 4, maybe.
I'll tell you what. Let's break the tension here
Wow.
real quick. And I know.
Oh no, let's not. Let's keep going.
We have a
I do
surprise.
enjoy. I'm loving this episode, but we have a surprise for you today because you know we want
Really?
we don't want to just we want to give you some depths and stuff to
Yeah.
this show and not you know we've been covering the issues, but we thought we want you to meet somebody today too. So we have a very special guest. So
It's time for
welcome Melissa Gilbert. That's right, everybody. This is the time of the show when we bring out Melissa Gilbert to talk with us and meet Janine and you know and just have a good discussion about the show.
And maybe Melissa Gilbert can explain to Janine why there weren't as many African Americans on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's ask Melissa.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so with the let's bring her out. Welcome Melissa Gilbert. It's coming right through that door there.
Okay. All right. She didn't come again.
You know what? I think today she didn't come because she just doesn't want to
She
deal
didn't
with
want
the
any
issues.
of this. She didn't want a piece of this.
She
She
just-
doesn't have an answer.
She wants to talk about running down the hill, smelling the flowers, sitting on that little bridge, you know, when she's in love, you know. I don't think she wants to deal with this tough
She may not
stuff.
be able to relate to Janine.
I'm
Maybe
sure she can.
That's what it is. So we apologize. She was supposed to come, but maybe next time she'll be here.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, you don't look that heartbroken. I
Not
would
a
think.
bit.
I sense a little hostility
Oh
maybe towards
no,
Melissa.
but of
or
course she
Laura.
wouldn't come today. This would be too deep for Melissa.
God,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's almost too deep for me.
I know. I almost wanted to stay in the segment for like 10 more minutes,
I'm telling you.
but you know I don't want. We shouldn't do that. Stay in the segment for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
Okay. Well, we'll try again next episode, everybody. But let's get back to the point at hand.
Oh, that's right. Let us know what you're thinking about it too. You know the email address.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. I'm not trashing Little House on the Prairie. It obviously had a formula that worked. It was on for 8 or 9 seasons. We know in Hollywood that's hard to do. Even back then, it was hard to keep a show on that long. So it had some redeeming qualities. My problem with that show, and any show that does not have a diverse cast, it puts up an assumption that an all-white cast has a universal appeal, and they do not. And as a person of color, I would like to see the opportunity for other people of color, not just African American, it's not a black thing, anyone else. If they're not a series regular with the opportunity to have a character arc and develop and grow and go through trials and tribulations and conflict and good times and bad like everyone else, it does nothing for me. And it means that you do not value me as a person and you do not value me as a viewer. If you are not sensitive enough to the fact that if I look this way, then I would probably want to see other people who look this way.
Right.
Well, we value you as a viewer because we're having you on here. We're so happy you saw our show.
Thank you, guys.
And out of our episodes, we'll have more black people on too.
Yeah,
to make it more diverse.
Yeah, we got to balance our show out.
That's
too.
right. You taught us a lesson today.
And you know what else? I'm gonna look through all the episodes, and I know there's a couple of more black episodes that we haven't mentioned today.
And we'll send them to you.
We're gonna send them to you. There's probably another 3 or 4 that we're not talking about
We
today.
still haven't broken an even 10 out of 186, but you keep looking,
Yeah.
Craig.
Oh, we will.
We're gonna work on that.
Does extras count?
No.
Oh, boy.
Guest star. Co-star roles.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What if we find out maybe a black person's working like the lighting or something?
On every episode.
On every episode.
Yeah.
So get a contract with Little House.
Black people working behind the scenes in Hollywood is another episode. Actually, it's another show.
Well, I'm still going to email you those because I think there's probably
We'll dig something. Yeah, we'll dig something.
Well, before you leave, we got another special little treat for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
2 in 1 show.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle this, guys.
No, I'll tell you what. We don't mess around here at Prairie Talk.
That's
We
right.
treat our guest goods.
You've all seen this before. I'm not even going to say it because you all know what it is. There it is. Isn't that we give that out to all our guests as a token of our
Oh,
appreciation.
thank you, guys.
Signature Dr. Baker plate who had a black assistant.
Right.
And look, he's wearing a black jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's black lettering on there too.
There are no words for what I'm feeling right now. No
I
words.
can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes.
I know you're loving that plate.
More than you know.
It makes me happy to see you're so happy.
I'll tell you what, I feel at one with like all races right now.
Yeah.
I'm just so.
Well, thank you so much, Janine, for coming on today. Is there anything else you want, or I think we've gotten it pretty much all out, unless there is something.
I've said all I need to say. There
Well,
were no
wonderful.
black people on Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, there were. There was Todd Bridges.
Co-stars staying on there 8 or 9 seasons. There were no families. Let's just
Well,
state the facts.
Okay.
It's not enough that they were drinking in the bar in town, Shane.
Yeah.
Storylines,
Well.
character arcs. Can you be up for an Emmy because you were actually on there long enough to be seen?
Dr. LeBeau was, I don't know.
1 episode?
He was not on there for a Tony for that, I
Yeah.
think. If we dig into the archives, I think we might be
Well,
able to pull that up
dig.
for you. Yeah.
We're digging.
Dig.
We're working. We got to.
And I dig you.
Good save, Shane.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
we're going to cut this episode off right now and go start digging.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody out there for tuning in today. Prairie Talk TV at AOL.com is our email address.
And let us know what you thought about the show. It was it made me realize a lot of things today, and I think we both taught each other something today.
And us, we know everything about the show, but we even have a whole new light on Little House on the Prairie
That's
now.
right. That's right. So, folks, until then,
Remember, good times.
and good friends.